I'm gonna sit like you, stick because I'm stuck on you. I'm gonna sit like you, stick because I'm stuck on you. I'm gonna sit like you, stick because I'm stuck on you.
So, you say that, thing is, I'm a little confused because you say that you died and you were brought back to life, and you emailed me a certificate, well, no, it wasn't a death certificate, but it was a piece of paper about a funeral mass.
I actually have it right here. Now, see? St. Hedwig's Roman Catholic Church. Now, you can open it up. Now, look, it's all legit. I'm waiting for the VA, actually, and here we go.
Here it is. Okay. Now, could you do me a favor?
What?
Read off some of these names up until we
They're
get to
Polish.
I know. Let's read those.
Thanks a lot. Love you too. Saturday, Sabato, November 13th, and then it says Francis X, Cabrina, and then comma Virgin. So we know what Francis was. 6:30 a.m. A Helen Tansky, and then in parentheses it has Sola and Oreno families. I guess they were the ones who, whatever. And then at 7:30, the 7:30 Mass, Lydia Zordio, whatever. And then 11 a.m., Memorial Mass, John Albert Sharkey.
That name's really out of place, don't you think?
My parents cursed me. They actually sent me to a Catholic grammar school for the educational purposes. Plus, it allowed me to learn about my future enemies. The best way to learn about your enemy is to infiltrate and learn what they're all about. That's how come I know all about, the Catholic Church, the way they are, and their little ways of doing things and stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, I was an altar boy. I was the youngest member ever of the Holy Name Society at St. Hedwig's Church. So, And actually, as far as pictures with wrestling, I have one more, if I may be allowed to.
It's not legal, is it?
Okay. No nudity, no nudes. But this is me as Tarantula, the unholiest of kings.
Tarantula. Okay.
Yeah, that's me with the mask now.
If we may.
Yes, you may.
There we go. Good.
Now look at the arms, baby.
What are those?
Steroids. Does body good, but actually at that time I was.
Are those 12-inch pythons? What is that?
That was more like 18, 19.
18, 19?
Yeah.
No, the one thing I wanted to discuss is that I know what it means spending time with your enemies. One thing I do is that about 2-3 times a week, I always go to my grandmother's nursing home. I go to nursing home.
You go visit your grandma. Well, that's very sweet of you. Because, grandmas are probably the greatest gift that anybody could ever have because they're sweet, loving. And when my grandmother died, I just totally said, that was the real beginning of my turn to the dark side. That's when I pretty much totally turned and said, F the world, and I just ain't gonna do
You can say fuck. This is
okay.
This is hardcore. That's what that is. Well, the thing is about my grandmother, I do visit her, but she said I was an abortion that never took.
Oh!
That's not even funny. That's what she said. Do me a favor. If you do become president, which you won't, but if you did...
Well, if you believe the Christian Bible the way you seem to do, that the followers of Lucifer will eventually come into power. Who's more famous in America as a Satanist than me?
I think the Pope is the Antichrist. So, in a way, you're going to have to follow him.
I ain't going to follow him.
He's going to be the Antichrist, I'm telling you.
Well, I was watching this thing on Nostradamus, and he had this drawing of the Pope being impaled. Well, who in the world's better known for impaling than Jonathon the Impaler?
Well,
Vikings?
So you're
passionate Satanist.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Now, okay, we talked about you being brought to life.
Right.
Now, as a vampire, do you have any kind of supernatural strength or any kind of special abilities?
Well, you got to figure this. I had this severe accident in the Army. I've had 15 knee operations. Let's see if I can pull up my pants leg. I got all these little scars. I mean, you can kind of see something.
Yeah, there we go.
And, usually somebody has had 15 knee operations, had their legs totally trashed, and their, last two discs in their back compressed and stuff. You kind of would figure they'd be crippled, where during the daytime, I kind of like walk with a partial limp, but at nighttime, there's no problems. You got to think about this. I've also at times had sex 18 times in 24 hours. My record's 18 and 24 and 25 and 36.
Were you taking like a male enhancement?
Back in the 80s, they didn't have that stuff.
Well, there's coke.
No, I don't do illegal drugs.
Oh.
Steroids was the only thing I did, and I did it under doctor's supervision. But
Demonstrate your strength to us, please, with this piece of paper.
oh, okay. Oh.
You have got to be goddamn kidding me. Here's another interesting thing. Have you ever heard about the, and like I said, this is serious. I have the proof, but just not with me.
Okay.
It's the Vegan Vampire Association. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, I think they don't like me or some shit.
This is a legitimate group. I'm not even joking around. This is a legitimate group.
It sounds familiar, but it sounds like a group that actually publicly denounced me or something because they didn't like that I went public.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, one of the things they talk about, instead of actually drinking blood,
Right.
they talk about taking iron pills, blood iron.
Oh.
And on an occasion, like they'll also they talk about this. I don't think it's sanitary, which I think is in the same vein of like actual blood without
Right.
being tested, but sucking on copper pennies, and so they'll suck because iron, copper, that sort of thing.
Whatever floats your boat. This is America. You have a right to do whatever.
So what do you have to say to that? Like, I mean, do you?
If that's what makes them comfortable, and if that ends up being their source of energy, then more power to them. I just kind of prefer having my fangs around women's necks. Like, ironically, when I go to Phoenix next week at this event that I'm doing for charity Thanksgiving morning, dear old Miss America 2006 Jennifer Barry is supposed to be there, and the last time Jennifer Barry and I kind of ran into each other was at Fox Studios, and I just wanted to fang her so bad, but her getting ready to go on TV, even though it only took me a matter of moments to look into her eyes and then kiss her and do this nice little cuddly photo shoot. She ain't Miss America no more. She ain't got a boyfriend. She's getting fanged.
I know. Jonathan, why are you lying? Okay, now this is an interesting one. Okay. We know, for example, you are pro-gay rights. We know...
Nowhere in the U.S. Constitution does it say that a man can't get married or a woman can't get married. Nowhere does it say a man and a woman have to get married. If somebody wanted to marry their dog, a case could be made, you'd probably marry your dog.
Do you want to marry your dog?
I don't have a dog. I don't like dogs.
If
I
you
like
had a
meow
dog-
meows.
If you had a dog, would you marry one?
No.
Are you against PETA?
Am I against PETA? I think they're a little bit too radical. I understand protecting innocent animals. That's an impellable offense. However, I do plan on buying a nice long leather coat with a fur collar when I get back home to Jersey, from the money from my concerts and stuff.
Well, if you're for protecting innocent animals, then wouldn't you be against people marrying them? Because wouldn't they be performing rude or lewd acts on them?
You'd be surprised what Spree and I used to do.
With animals?
No, with each other.